Welcome back. The story in the market is after 4 days of an up move and nearly 2 weeks of a gain from levels of 10,600, the Nifty is pausing for breath today. So we are holding above that 11,000 mark, but there is a negative bias. But in context to the weakness in the Asian markets and concerns about global growth, our cut is quite minor and tepid compared to the rest of the markets, rest of our peers in Asia. So that is story at the index level. If you go beneath the surface, it's Wipro, which is one of the big losers, and that's because the promoters, the Aziz Premji Trust, have sold 2.67 crore shares via a block deal today at an average price of 259 rupees, which means the promoters have sold 0.44% of their equity, and this was the total size, including the upsize, the total amount that they were willing to sell. So the promoter holding will fall from 74.3% to 73.86%. The stock has been an outperformer in the last 6 months with a rally of 10% versus a negative return for the Nifty IT of close to about 3%. So I guess the time was right, and I don't think it's any reflection of the promoter interest in the company. It's the trust which is sold, which largely monetizes their stake time to time. I think this is the second instance of it for purely philanthropic and charity purposes. Separately, on the demand environment for CLSA, Wipro, CLSA has written that Wipro sees a positive demand environment, but with some caution. But there is no sign of slowdown based on their client conversation and project execution. The demand in oil and gas and communication looks strong. BFSI will do well, but decelerate. Manufacturing should return to growth. Healthcare continues to be a problem area for Wipro, even outside of the HPS acquisition. And the management has said they're likely to consider an opportunistic large buyback in April, given the reasonable cash on the balance sheet. So that's about Wipro and the demand environment.
All right, Reema, we will talk about other stocks as well. Wipro lower by about 4%, but we're getting some more details from the Supreme Court with regards to the mediation in the Ram Mandir case. The court had earlier maintained that mediation would ensure that confidentiality is maintained by both sides and the process is not reported or commented upon in the media. At the same time, the court also clarified that by ordering mediation, it did not want to gag media, but to consider delaying publication of the deliberations. And that is exactly what has come by. The Supreme Court media has been barred from reporting the mediation process. The process will be held in Faizabad. It will begin in a week, conclude in 8 weeks, but the first report will be given only 4 weeks later. So that is something that the Supreme Court has spoken about. The three mediators appointed by the Supreme Court would be, the panel would be headed by former Supreme Court Judge F.M. Khalifullah. The other members would be Shri Ravi Shankar and Shri Ram Panchol, who's a senior advocate and founder of the Concord Mediation, which offers services in mediation and media arbitration. So we will keep an eye out on this. It's a matter of national interest. But let's shift focus back to the stock markets. Wipro was losing, but along with that, we have two other stocks which are losing 3.5%, 4%. Tata Motors and Tata Motors TVR. Weakness in China continues to impact their business, especially in the Jaguar Land Rover front. Sonia joins in with details. Sonia, weakness in JLR continues.
Oh yes, the problems continue for Jaguar Land Rover. In fact, China is the biggest pain point for them. This month, again in the month of February, the Chinese sales are down by almost 50% year on year, and that has dragged JLR sales lower. So overall for the month of February, total sales are down by about 4.1%. This is the lowest JLR retail sales since August of 2018. And not just that, it's the third consecutive month of a fall in Jaguar Land Rover sales. Now, if you look at the breakup in terms of geographies, China is the biggest pain point, as I mentioned, but the other geographies are doing fine. So North America is up about 25%, UK is up 11%. Europe is still struggling, it's up just about 1% or so. The management says that the Jaguar brand is doing well because you have good demand for the E-Pace and the electric I-Pace, but it's Land Rover which is suffering because of the fall that we've seen in the Chinese markets. Back to you.
Okay, Sonia, thank you very much for that.